In July of 2024, John Cena announced that 2025 would hold host to his last set of matches in WWE. This set the wrestling world on fire, with many immediately starting to fantasy book their dream ending for John Cena's career. And with 2025 now just around the corner, I'm here to bring you guys my opinion on who I think will end John Cena's career. To start, I made a long list of about 20 superstars and then divided those into 4 categories. Those categories being young guns, long shots, new rivals, and past rivals. After running through those categories, I'll give you my pick as to who I think will end the GOAT's career. Now, without any further ado, let's get into it. To start, we're going to go with the long shots. This section only has one name in it, and that name is Edge. And look, this is purely for me. I know Edge is done with his WWE run. He's on to AEW. He's doing his thing there. But I cannot, in good conscience, leave Edge off of a list like this. These two have impeccable chemistry together, producing some of the best work from the Ruthless Aggression era. So, if somehow the band did get back together, I think heel Edge would be a great shout to retire Mr. You Can't See Me himself. The next category we'll talk about is the Young Guns. This group is full of the future stars of WWE. These are the guys that would get an absolutely massive rub from retiring the GOAT. The best example of this, Braun Breaker, who at just 27 years old has already launched himself into a stratosphere not many people his age have. Another guy I see in the same light as Breaker is Carmelo Hayes, and honestly I think that would do a lot more for Melo. And plus, Melo's from Massachusetts, just like Cena, so a story could already be told there. 2 more guys that I see in the same light are Oba Femi and Jacob Fatu. 2 young guys who would absolutely destroy anybody in their path, and ultimately probably squash John Cena in his final match. And finally, last but not least, to round out this section, we've got Dirty Dominic Mysterio. As of now, Dominic is just the chicken shit heel who could barely even get a victory when the Judgment Day help him. But I think a clean win over Cena for the 1-2-3 in the middle of the ring would do wonders for Dominic. He wouldn't be perceived as this perennial loser, and he could finally be pushed up into main event spots like I think he deserves to be. The third category is new rivals. This category consists of 3 established WWE stars who have never had a feud with Big Match John. The tippity top of this list is Gunther. I think the story would be simple yet really effective here, with Gunther being the final boss villain and John Cena being the never give up John Cena that he's always been. And on top of the story being amazing, Gunther could also give John Cena probably the best in-ring match out of the whole list of 20 guys I have here. And if not the retirement match, I at least want to see this match at some point during John Cena's last run. The next guy I want to mention is Drew McIntyre. Drew is a guy who has earned something like this. His last rivalry with CM Punk showed that he could rise to or even surpass the level of his competition. Another guy who I believe has earned it this past year is Jey Uso. And while I highly doubt this one's going to happen, I love Jey Uso so much. I had to put him on here. The final category before I reveal my pick is past rivals. The most likely case, in my opinion, is that they choose somebody that Cena has a history with. The general consensus around the wrestling world is that people want it to be Randy Orton. The amount of matches that these 2 guys have had against each other is staggering, with both guys elevating one another's careers. Every good guy needs a bad guy. And you'd be hard-pressed to find a better bad guy in WWE than Randy Orton. The story's right there for them to tell, And honestly, I wouldn't be mad if they did it. I just think there's one guy, which I'm going to say at the end, that deserves it a little bit more. I think another great shout would be Roman Reigns. John Cena's gone on record plenty of times saying that he thinks he's the GOAT. And I think WWE would draw a lot of money with a quote-unquote GOAT versus GOAT match of this caliber. CM Punk is a guy that I need to at least mention here, even though it would do absolutely nothing for CM Punk's career, because I think he's done pretty much everything he can do, and he's probably on the verge of retirement himself. But I think the story would be great, the promos would be great, the match, maybe not so much, but the storytelling at least would be there. Another guy I see in the same light as CM Punk is AJ Styles. And no, it's not because they have two initials in their first name. Cena and AJ's rivalry in the 2010s was probably the best thing to come out of the 2010s because, golly, that was not a great time for wrestling. But yeah, I think those two guys would still put on a great show today. Two more guys that I kind of see in the same light as each other are Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, both feuding with John Cena when they were younger, first breaking into WWE, being pushed to the top of the ladder. And now that they've climbed the top of the ladder, it would be a really cool full circle moment for either of these guys to be the one to knock off John Cena and call it a career for him. This next guy I want to at least mention, he probably will never come back to wrestling, but Brock Lesnar. The story would be great with both of them coming into WWE together, having many matches throughout their careers together, and then Brock finally being the one to put away John Cena at the end. Solo Sikoa is another guy. I kind of even forgot they had a rivalry. I had him in the Young Guns category, actually. And then I was like, wait, they actually did fight. But yeah, Solo Sikoa is another guy. He's morphed into this tribal chief character that he's taken from Roman Reigns, and he's no longer this enforcer that we saw in their last rivalry. So I think that little wrinkle would be all the difference in entertainment value. And finally, to round it out, we got Solo's family member, The Rock. Two of the biggest stars in the world today. These two guys are everywhere. You look, movies, billboards, commercials. Their beef from WrestleMania 27 to 29 was awesome. And while I'm 99% sure this isn't going to happen, it's my video, and I'm going to do what I want, okay? And now we've come to the grand finale. This is the superstar that I'm planting my flag in as to who I think will retire John Cena. And his name is Cody Rhodes. Whether as a babyface or a heel, I think Cody needs to be the guy to end Cena's illustrious career. Cody is one of a very short list of guys that could give us that classic "I'm sorry, I love you" moment that we saw between Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24. And while Cody hasn't had a one-on-one feud with John, their relationship goes back to when Cody was a rookie and used to drive John around from town to town. Just a little later in their careers, Cody would find himself standing in the ring, facing off with John Cena, but not one-on-one, but three-on-one as part of Legacy with Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr. And now, years later, Cody finds himself in the same role Cena was in many years ago, at the top of the mountain. But just one thing, he has one more hill to climb, that being John Cena himself. An interesting wrinkle would be this being the catalyst for a heel turn for Cody. I could see it happening. However, I think it would be more interesting to have a face versus face match with ultimate respect being paid at the end. This would be a true passing of the torch moment from one face of the company to the next. Alrighty, everybody, that's going to be a wrap for today's video. Let me know who you think is going to retire John Cena in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed, and I will catch you later.